welcome to the Front Lines with Dan Lutz and
Tank.
and we're here to be on the front lines against the deep state cabal, the Illuminonkeys, and all those that want to oppress all of us into a debt slavery system, among other things. So, how's it going, Tank?
Everything is wonderful. Everything's coming up roses. Hey, by the way, Dan, I didn't even get a chance. We were just talking before the show, and I didn't even get a chance to mention this to you. But tomorrow night we are going to do a live Zoom call for anyone and everyone who has any kind of questions. So Dan, it's okay with you. We can broadcast the Q&A directly from Zoom for the front lines. If that's okay. If not, I'm going to be on tomorrow night.
No, it's fine. But it's a good idea.
Okay,
I like doing those. But I thought maybe we should kind of do that like once a week. Like a question day where people just open it up for people to come in, and I've done that. Several. As a kind of a because it builds up questions over time, and not everyone comes on and puts it into the chat. But I think it's a good idea.
Well, I'm a big fan of live, Q&A.
Yeah.
I used to do these all the time, like Dr. WC, the Real Truth Call, and, the Outlaws calls, and, I had my own calls for a while. I love to answer questions on the spot because you can't really fake it, right? Mm-hmm. Now, granted, I guess you can fake it because people like, the TNT call, they'd have, fake callers come in with lob up basic questions and things like that, and call in and do silly stuff. We don't need any of that. People with real questions. We put out a whole series. Sidori, she put out an incredible series on, on Kim. Just try to give some people some background because, Sidori has, she's in the whole Anon community, and she, so she's got a pretty solid following there on Instagram and all over the place. So she has a lot of interest, and a lot of questions, a lot of questions that are spiritual, a lot of questions that are basic and to do with the banking. So we just figured give people a chance to come on and ask any and all questions. Everything's welcome, and there is a group out there that is actively trying to smear, Kim and Thomas and me and
me,
anybody associated. Dan as well. Dan,
I've made it. I've made it. Now that I've been smeared, made it part of the gang, right? So
there is a gentleman who has written some lovely poems to me and about me. He is, I guess, somewhat of a beat poet. That he's writes poetry that's doing whatever. And they're very graphic. He tries to get a lot of attention. I guess he has about 75 people or so that he sends them out to. It says all types of things that really are very very interesting. So please, sir, I would welcome you to come on and ask me any questions you like. And then there's a website dedicated to smearing Kim, I guess, and Thomas, and trying to accuse us of various things.
I always encourage the naysayers. The polite way of saying it. The ones that basically claim, "Oh, you're conducting a scam." For the longest time, it was really funny. It mostly came about from what I did with Swiss Indo, which I just did a series of interviews. I spent about 4 months going back and forth to Laos, and I met and talked and did some interviews. I just trying to figure out how the system functions. Where else do you get the information about this? You're not going to get it on CNN, right? So but then they said that that I was part of a scam, and I just kept saying, "What is the scam? Where do they ask money from anybody?" Yeah, so
It's
it's
always
like
good.
I always
Good question,
wonder. Yeah, what is it? Okay, what are we doing really here? I mean, beyond me, being in a financial problem, saying, can you? I asked for some donations because I got into a bad situation, which is still not quite,
Resolve, yeah.
yeah, resolved at this point. But but I'm, you know, we're not, selling anything, right? We're not trying to basically
Right.
convince people, and we're not doing a tithing or any kind where we're trying to convince people to join a cult. This is just information that as much as I have put together out of a unique set of circumstances
Life
where
experiences.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I was able to go and investigate things. I mean, how many people went to China and try to figure out how the historical assets that were put into mountain warehouses, where did that come into play? How does that fit with the communist government and the royalty that's there, and then how does that play in with the rest of the Southeast Asia, from Indonesia and Malaysia and Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, even over into India. I mean, how many people had the experience I've had in India? My father-in-law was the fourth richest man before he was assassinated. So I'm always looking for information, right? So if I'm revealing what I can, so why do people want to come and attack, right? I'd like them to come on and talk to me, right? Have a conversation. Don't hide in the shadows and be a troll. Lurking under the bridge to come out and say, fear, fear. Come on out, come on. So yeah, it's a great idea. Let's have an open Zoom call and put that out there. So yeah, so how would you like to conduct that from this normal Zoom link or from a dedicated?
No, I'm gonna, actually, I'm gonna get it from the girls right now, and there's a phone number that everybody can call into, or people can actually log onto the link, and we'll use a regular format, and we'll sit there and answer questions.
Yeah, I normally
You know,
just
and
make I make meetings in Zoom, and then well, see, look, it's already started. Everyone thinks this is the call-in show. We got iPhone has showed up here. Hello, iPhone. Usually takes a little.
Some people have been trying. I think some people, they've, because they put the link out. So, but we're not doing that today. But tomorrow night, I mean, we can. I mean, I don't mind answering questions, of course, but tomorrow night is what we scheduled. So that we could, kind of have a straight Q&A. We're not going to talk about anything. I mean, people hear us talk about. I mean, we'll talk just in reference to specific issues, or questions or concerns, or accusations. Anything people feel like they want to bring up. I do welcome that. I made up my mind a long time ago. It was funny because I was reading this very colorful email from this gentleman today.
Oh, Tank, you're silent. You're muted. Well, one thing we were going to discuss today, waiting for Tank to come back online, was Bolton being fired by Trump. I look at this as a turning point, a good sign, right? Because Bolton was brought in as a deep state player to be the warmonger. Like what happened in Venezuela, the things that were going down there, but always about bringing us up to like the brink of war, right? So he's prepping things, but Trump takes it a different angle, right? When it's an attack, the ISIS, right? Well, Bolton had it all set up. Okay, we're going to attack ISIS. We're going to attack ISIS. We're going to attack ISIS. But it was really, to attack the same people that they were attacking under Obama, right? Which was, not ISIS, right? It was really to soften the ground for ISIS to come in. So now, he would what Trump would do is he'd come in and he'd like flip the target around and actually, no, we're going to go over to this target and hit ISIS, and it really was ISIS. And so Bolton was continuing being put in this position of getting into a position of warmongering and getting things ready to go, Venezuela or wherever else in the world. And he was against what was going on in North Korea, so he'd like direct things away from Trump and Kim Jong Un meeting, right? And then Trump just bypasses it, right, and goes through. So that part, that Scaramucci model that QAnon had spoken about with Bolton, is now at play. I think it's a turning point. It's a good sign that we're moving out of the war, all the different war angles that were going on, and into peace. Whether it was at the Taliban, ISIS, Iran, any of the hot spots in the world, that there's going to be a resolution. There's going to be an end to these hostilities. And I think that this is the big push right now. That's a very good sign. Are you back, Tank?
Yeah, I'm back. I think that's a great sign. Anytime something like I think, everything that's happening right now, it's like there's a deeper meaning behind all of it. And I'm actually, I'm very encouraged by that. To know that there's still moves taking place that show that Trump is really for the people. I think that's, you look at sometimes the things that we're seeing going on, you kind of watch them like, why is this happening or why is this going this way? But, you got to find a way in, right? You got to find a way into these clubhouses of, whatever to actually make a difference, right? And as my college roommate always used to say, it's always better to have a skunk on the inside pissing out than a skunk on the outside pissing in. So,
or keep your enemies close, or keep your friends close and your enemies closer. That's one of the other phrases that are used. So why? Because then you can see what they're doing. And they're given responsibilities, they're given things to do, and then you can see how they're conducting it. Who are they connecting with? What information are they passing back and forth? So it gives you a window into knowing what the enemy is doing.
And we know that they're constantly, conducting war. So they're always pursuing war, right? This is they want a world of misery and hatred and fear that they control, which, it's like controlling an abusive marriage or something. It's like, how awful. Who wants to really do that? When the option on the table is, you can have a life filled with love and joy and peace and happiness, why not pursue that?
Well, because they've been trained that that's a bad thing.
Right, that's a weakness.
They're
right.
tortured. Right. They're raised with other people, not with their mother and father. They're do all these things. Now, how unnatural of a thing is that to be done? I mean, don't they know that this was just a game that was played upon them by the ones up there in the eye at the top of the pyramid? That they really just made fun of them and said, "Look, we're going to get them to do all these rituals, kill each other, do unspeakable things to each other because they're just going to chase this money, right? They're just going to chase the money, right? And they're going to bring us asset, and we're going to give them pretty paper."
Right.
And so they don't realize that they've been played.
Right. That's absolutely true. So back to my friend who emailed me. He made demands, asking me when will I get time to speak my mind, express myself on the Speak Project, which I thought was funny because in the same email he threatened that that I better watch everything that I say publicly because people love to try to make it seem like you're doing something illegal by sharing information. Which, I mean, let's face it, if we have the information, how secret is it, right? Like, for the most part. I mean, and I'm not an agent. I don't have any confidentiality agreements that I've signed or that I have to keep, right? And he said that because if not, they were going to rip out all of the implants in my mind-controlled following CIA something or other, and he said, and it will be painful, right? And I'm like, that's a pretty aggressive threat, right? You're going to rip out my implant, which I don't have any, so you can imagine it would be even more painful. And I'm not sure if he's speaking energetically or physically. I'm pretty sure it's the same individual who told me that when he speaks things into existence. So I think Kim's response to him was, well, if you speak things into existence, then you don't need my help. I hope he calls in. Please, tomorrow night's your chance. We'll be more than happy to give you a chance to speak your mind. I would insist that you are respectful on the call, but you're more than welcome if you can calm down and put your anger and hatred away. You're welcome to come on the call and speak your voice. I think everybody should have a voice, and certainly, you're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah. Please keep the
So I'm excited
language.
about that.
Please keep the language tame. And then but speak your mind. That doesn't.
Yeah. Usually he titles the tagline for emails with things like one was, "This is not just another effing poem," right? I think today's was giving one more chance to Stephen Rowe, which he spelled wrong. Then he said Stephen, my AKA was Stephen, which is never true. No one calls me Stephen. And then he said Tank. We got that one right. He nailed Tank. And said something like, gee, I can't remember, something like giving him one more chance to come over to the light. Now, here's the thing that I always find interesting about people that are trying to kind of put you in an armbar, to force you to come over to the light, right? I just feel like that's not how the light works, right? And it seems like you're the individual he was miserable, angry and provoking a fight and writing it in all block capital letters and purple, on my email with all types of insane links and fragmented sentences, spelling errors. I'm like, I just don't feel like you're that happy in the state of light that you're in, So, I just feel like light. If you're really in the light, I feel like you'd be happy, So, that's just me. I have something to learn from everybody, so I'm more than willing to entertain that. So that should be fun.
Yeah. Well, I found that most of the time, they don't come out of the shadows, for the most part. And so that really says that they really don't have true belief in what they're saying. It's their own internal back and forth that they have in their own head that is against themselves. They're really picking a target, but it's a mirror. They're really talking to themselves. So
right.
if there is something that they want to say, then why don't they come out and really just talk to you about it? So again, the only couple times that people actually showed up, when I opened up the line to talk to someone, and then afterwards they were fine, right? They really didn't think about it from other. They just make assumptions. They heard someone say something and they went off on the wrong tangent, right? Because they were on this, they just got set off in the wrong direction. But if people are opening themselves up to the conversation, then they're open up to change. I'm open to change, so it should be very good for anyone that wants to come in.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
So what I used to do, there's a lot going. Dan is very popular this morning. He's got business going on all over the place.
Yeah, it's the cloud token stuff is really popping up here. So I got back on track with doing it, and so after the Kringle Society, issue got somewhat settled, and but anyway.
Gotcha.
So anyway, but we're let's have some conversations with the people and start handling any of the questions that they're out there. I think we answer things mostly just in our conversations back and forth, but it's good that we're
but I can appreciate that, depending on where you're picking up the storyline, right?
sure.
There's a lot of pieces that don't make sense, and sometimes we refer to things that I try my best to explain these things as we go, but just to repeat them, and but depending on where you're picking up the story, I figure you and I have 180 plus videos out there, and then I probably got we probably got at Speed Project another, probably 300 videos, of varying things, right? Like just like a bank of nonstop like clips of all types of stuff, right?
Right.
So it's like unless somebody like really spotlights and says here's the kind of a actually Tommy does that. I think it's pretty smart. He talks about like this is like a must see list. I think it's a smart thing to do.
Right.
I was gonna follow a model. Maybe that'll work. Try something like that to help people out. But I think my PR director who she's kind of she's my right hand, so she can basically do anything. So she's done a great job, I think, with these videos that she's put out here with Kim,
Right.
and so I think that's good. And a lot of people have questions about Kim, and so hopefully that answers a lot of those questions.
Just so you know, I'm adding the stuff to the information for the Zoom call to the comment section and to the chat. So I had to edit a little.
Oh, for tomorrow night's call?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
So it's
I
now
appreciate it.
I posted it right here on this video. So it's in the comments and it's in the in the chat area. But
cool.
I'll add it to the description as well.
Awesome sauce. Perfect. All right, we're in business. We got things working. Love it. And we did a really stirring video today with a woman, Barbara Lowe, something or other, but she's like a longtime advocate. Her son was actually affected by vaccines. He had an acute response immediately when he was like 2 years old, and we were talking about that today. And she's a little more a little more conservative, than I am with as far as what we can do. And she's been lobbying and doing all the things that you do, basically, right? That everybody else does to try to change things. And I guess my mindset's a little bit more radical, in the sense of like, I'm not trying to fit into a broken system. I'm trying to change it.
Right.
And that's not everybody's cup of tea. 'Cause everyone's used to kind of pandering to these corrupt political judges, right? And she shared a lot of really, she was, directly involved in this big law passed in 1986 that basically required, that there was reporting done, right? And they did reports back then to kind of talk about the safety of vaccines, but no one really talks about the efficacy of vaccines, right? And one of the things that they don't talk about is that because these are all experimental, the only way to gather data is by experimenting while they're in operation, right? So all vaccines are experimental. All of them. So it's like it's such an interesting thing because they should be gathering data, but they're not gathering data that they would share with us, right?
Right.
Because if they shared the data with us, it would show, well, here's the kill rate, because that's really what they're looking for, right? How much are we limiting people's lives, right?
Right.
So if they started the data back in 1962, which is roughly when they had about 6 vaccines, and they've increased the dosage just the way you would in a clinical trial to find out how much you can dose us and still, and get the results you want, right? Get like an expected lifespan and all the things that you're planting in people's bodies. And we were kind of talking about that. I thought that was just amazing when you think about that this is all part of, just eugenics.
Right.
This whole process is them controlling us from the cradle to the grave, is the way it's phrased in the eugenic studies.
Yeah. And almost I can't quite figure. I sometimes think like they're just continuing with their program, what they're programmed to do. They follow the playbook. It doesn't matter if Trump's in office and he's trying to stop them. They just continue, or if they're accelerating it because they're panicked. And I don't know which it is. It seems like it's very rushed at the moment, right? But then again, it may be, just, the timing was supposed to be this way.
Well, I'm always looking at, what's the strategy to change the narrative, right? Because you got to think there's things that have to happen simultaneously, right? Like, it's very hard to wake people up. Like, if you've ever seen someone in a hospital who's like, fresh out of surgery, right? And they're still dealing with the anesthesia. It's very hard to talk to them about anything important, right?
Right.
Like, that's not the time to tell them, like, something you really want them to remember.
Right.
And I feel like that's kind of the situation you have with the whole population, right? Is everyone's kind of waking up from anesthesia, and we're all kind of, fighting to wake everybody up, right? And we're trying to talk to them about really heavy issues that a lot of people just aren't ready for. They just they can't process it. They're not even there yet. And I think one of the keys to changing that, is literally stopping, basic crimes against humanity. I think we could start there, right? By stop putting drugs in our water and food, air. And these things it shouldn't even be a discussion. This isn't a political debate as to whether or not we should be drugged, right? Or how much we should be drugged. It's a matter of, what the hell are you talking about? We're being drugged, right? Like, that's the reality. Like, how can that be? This is impossible. This is inhumane. There's no question about it, right?
Right.
And but they somehow have made it a political debate, but it's really not. It's not up for debate, right? The reality is that this is unethical, no matter how you slice it. If in fact we actually care about people, the reality that I think the harsh reality that we're all faced with is, if they actually care about people, if anyone in power actually cares about people, except for President Trump. And this is why why we love him, because, like, I'm not a fan of anyone. I've talked to all types of people on all levels. I'm never persuaded or intimidated, or I don't know. I just never got into that, like, kind of fan worship. But you know what? I do appreciate what President Trump is doing more than maybe any public official I've ever seen, because I realize he's up against a monster,
Right.
that is ignorant as hell. They don't know what they're talking about, and they really think that they are superior in every way. So I'm grateful that somebody's fighting for us in that way.
Yeah.
Very grateful.
It's definitely a godsend. To have him come at this time, and just at the perfect moment to basically upset, and his his confidence in the way he goes about things, I think just creates the path for everything to unfold. He's creating reality, right? Because he knows what he's going to do. He's going to drain the swamp. But the swamp is worldwide, and that also included communism. That also includes, human trafficking. Right? He actually, interesting thing. So what he had another executive order that he basically just put into place today.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Which is what?
What it does is these terrorist organizers, right, and the financiers, right, he intensified the scrutiny of them, or the ability to take away their money by, and this is an interesting part, is it was there before, but what was different is before you had to have a direct link between the money and the terrorists for them to actually go ahead and put you on the naughty list and then take your money. Now it's not the case anymore. So it's interesting that this happened at the same time that Bolton is gone, and this event with the Taliban at Camp David, happened, right? It's kind of like he just intensified this against the terrorists, not just the Taliban. They mentioned the Taliban. This was Mike Pompeo and Steve Mnuchin in the press conference that just happened a couple hours ago. So this intensity, this increased. Wait, you're at a ballpark.
Yeah, they keep the lights on until midnight, so as long as it's warm, I'm gonna broadcast here.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, that's good. But how are you having that float up there? How's the camera floating up in the?
I use magic, Dan. I use magic. So, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, we have a lot of magic going on here. So, but anyway, that's I think a very interesting thing that's happened where Bolton is out, right? The warmonger's out. This event got disturbed in Camp David because of this. I'm just wondering, there's just a wild, theory that maybe if the deep state actors were wanting this to all blow up, it would be Bolton arranging for telling these guys in the Taliban, hey, if you want to make sure you're showing power when you come to meet with Trump, right? So you got to do something, right? Maybe he goaded them into doing something, and they ended up doing this power move, which actually robbed them of their power with Trump. And so now they're out, and now this action has come. Trump acts very fast, at these times. So it looks like these things are in a plan, because this is, the next day this executive order comes out. And I think executive orders are, take a little time to prepare, right, than just, a few hours. But
well, and I hope it's the kind of executive order that the pieces are already put in place to actually enforce. This one of the very first executive orders that Trump put in place was, talking about seizing the money of terrorists, right? And financial terrorists, people who attack the U.S. economy, people who block money coming into our economy, people who block transfers. Now, obviously, nobody's doing anything about that because, at the end of the day, it boggles my mind that you have the Pentagon has brought money in. They have their own system. Kim has cleared the money for them. So technically right now, the Pentagon is operating as the Treasury. She's brought the money in to the Treasury. She's brought the money into the Pentagon. They've cleared it in the bank. Then the Pentagon goes to pay their bills, and when they go to pay their bills, the banks won't clear it, right? So you can't even though she's demonstrated, obviously she's in control of the system. She's the one that brought the money in. She's the one that's been paying the government salaries, right? So everybody in the government owes Kim a debt in this sense, right? Because if she didn't do this, who knows what would be going on here, right? Be the zombie apocalypse, of course. And, so they know she has the money, and yet they defiantly oppose her, no matter what. Yeah. Which is weird because if you think about it, Kim is for the people. She's the sole sovereign on the planet, and the highest position in the entire order of the entire world government, of the entire, world of secret society, demons and spirituality and galactics and absolute craziness, she's in the position, the very center of the highest position on the entire planet. She's the eye in the pyramid, right? And you think they'd bow down to her. Especially because, there was 150 some odd people there at the top that are no longer there. And she's the sole survivor. It seems like they would be a little more receptive to the fact that if they feared the people that were there before, each individual, they feared them, and all of them got eliminated the same day, wouldn't it be, kind of logical to be like, what, whoever did that should definitely hold the seat, shouldn't we show that person some respect, But alas, there's no logic. There's no logic.
Yeah. Well, it's so opposite of everything that they've been looking to do, right? They're moving everything up the pyramid, right? And she wants to send everything down. So, it's opposite of everything they know. So,
Yes, it is.
which is good.
Thank God, right? Because Lisa had some information yesterday. Like I haven't even seen the picture yet, but I guess it was like, they had a kid that was already cooked up like a turkey, and then they had another woman that was like, being stewed on a barbecue, which I guess is like the cabal dish to pass. Their community events they have. They send out the newsletter. And,
I have seen one before where where that was where there was like, it was almost like a Thanksgiving event with the table made up, and then the man was on the table, kind of configured into a turkey, but the head was there, right? The head was attached.
Oh, the head was attached. Huh?
Head was attached with the apple in the mouth.
Ah.
Yeah, so
that's terrifying. That's terrifying.
Terrifying.
Yeah, I've seen one with. I saw one without the head, and I thought it was a turkey until I examined it closer and realized, oh my God, this is horrifying. Yeah. So there was no hands, there was no feet either. So I guess it was easy. It looked just like a turkey the way they had the guy set up. So that's a terrifying reality, and as they're pushing cannibalism through the mainstream narrative all over the place now.
Yeah.
Although we keep presenting obvious logical options, that's one of the things that RFK was talking about today. He did like a mic drop speech. I don't know where he was. He was like outside with like a microphone and some guy with like a boombox next to him, right? And he was like speaking in the streets to the crowd. I'm like, man, and I dig that. I really appreciate that about him. And he was talking about. He said, if they take away these rights, what else? What else will they take? Now, in California and New York right now, they have taken away our religious freedom. As of right now, you no longer have constitutional rights in New York or California.
Yeah.
I mean, you have made the Constitution void. Yeah. That is terrifying. Terrifying.
Yeah. We need to move faster.
So, it's funny though, because I know for a fact I've been outing the local law enforcement, right, for harassing me. Right? So I've been talking about it everywhere, right? They're constantly running sirens by me all the time, right? Mm-hmm. And it took me about 3 weeks of mentioning it every time I talked, right? Where I was like, look, I know what you're doing, right? On every call I would have, I'm like, I know what you're doing. I know that I'm queued into your system. Every time I pick up a phone, you send a car. Not only that, but I even know the cars that are coming by, right? So they've left me alone for 2 or 3 days now. So maybe they got a memo saying, hey, maybe you guys should stop harassing this guy before he catches on that we're anti-people.
Yeah. Well, it makes you wonder. Like, well, who's giving them this order? Why would they be going along with it? I mean, let's harass this guy. Where did that come from? What level? Is that like the governor of the state has to call them? Where does it come from?
Well, if the governor of the state called, it definitely wouldn't be for me, right? Because I hate that son of a bitch, and he knows it. So, so I'm pretty sure that it wasn't from him saying, "Hey, leave Tank alone." Pretty sure.
Well,
so.
But you know what I mean. It's like I don't get like the local police that would be participating in this, because normally they're good guys, right? They want to do the right thing, and that's one of the reasons they go into law enforcement. Now, I guess they could have been worked out. I know that there was things that I came about when I was in my mid-20s and things like that. Then I was picking up stories where they wouldn't allow very smart people to join the police force. Like if your IQ was over 130, they wouldn't hire you.
Yeah.
So. Why? Why would you? How do you get a Sherlock Holmes then, right?
Well, I think it's as much of a my favorite story of any interaction we've had in the past 2 years with Kim, right, is this FBI agent, former FBI agent. Now he's currently a private investigator, And he actually has a documentary coming out called Mr. Undercover, right? And we called him up. One of my contacts hooked me up with him, and I told him the story. I said, look, this is what they're doing. And he was very boisterous and impressive. He's like, don't you worry about that. I wrote the book on, I changed the way that, white-collar crimes are investigated. I can get you in anywhere. That's no problem. I'll get it cleared. Because when I make a phone call, things get done. Now, I love those guys, right? Because they always have an exaggerated sense of self-importance, right? They always think that they have the phone call to get things done, right? Now, I talked to him 2 days later. That dude was terrified. He didn't want. He's like, look, don't use my name. Don't do anything. Like, stumbling all over himself. I'm like, what happened, tough guy? You were, supposed to be doing something amazing. Like, see, look here, the cops are here now.
There you go.
Just sitting here. I think it's okay. It's like, maybe I should go. So.
Well, at least we see you being harassed live on camera if they come to visit.
I'll ask them. Maybe I'll be here.
There you go.
Make sure, lights are on. So, anyways, I'm very transparent, right? I mean, I'm not doing anything. So.
You look threatening sitting there.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I know. Like, look at that guy over there. I think he's got a camera. Stop him.
Yeah.
They probably won't. They probably won't harass me while I'm live on YouTube. So, you can't leave Dan until
okay, all right.
until I'm home safely.
It's okay. I've got you covered.
If I start making a run for it now.
Well, at least there's no sirens.
Yeah, I actually agree. Thank God there's no sirens. I mean, I'd rather them just come by with a flashlight to let me know they're here. Thanks, guys, for keeping me safe, right? That's the great part.
You always just wave.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, maybe they're watching the show. Look, I'm pro, peacekeepers, right? Like the officers are supposed to be peacekeepers. They're supposed to be here to keep the peace.
Right.
So, what's more peaceful than a guy sitting in a baseball park? Out on a beautiful night, talking about how we're going to change the world.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, you know how it goes.
God, no.
I know, man. I know. You never know these guys. What you're going to get. So, anyways, what else happening? It's important. Anything good?
I think that's pretty much where we're at. I think that's covering it. It's good we have things moving. I'm stumbling on not saying certain things.
No, I know.
Check mark. Check. No.
We have a bunch of things that are working. That are, I hope go through without a hitch. We've got a bunch of things that we're actively involved in, and the banking system currently they're still taking a stand, right? And they're very committed to global genocide and wiping out 90% of the population. So I want to put my offer back out there to all the mercenaries who continue to do their bidding. I would ask you to please stop, contact us, and if you actually want to get paid with real money, not with currency that will never revalue, or not with hope and promises and lies. If you'd like real money and you'd like to be willing to stand up for the people, we can make that happen. So I want to encourage that. If your boss is a Chinese elder, a Rothschild, a De Beer, a Clinton, if you are delivering children into a place where you have one of these very rich elite people, and you never see that child again, I would ask you please to stop doing that. Because, just for your conscience sake, for your karma, there's no amount of money that will ever replace that child's life. And, it's kind of where I'm at.
Well, I think a good recap to go over was, the Rothschilds threw up their hands and because they didn't do the GCR again, right? And they told the other banks, you come up with a plan.
Right. They actually, apparently, the PINDAR system, which who knew they were disorganized, you have to put an application in guess, right, to be the PINDAR, I guess. I mean, I don't know if that's accurate, but that's what I was told. So, the Pindars. One of them is Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney has. Oh, I guess I gotta go now. Um, so
Lights out.
Dick Cheney is the Dick Cheney is the one who he wants to be the Pindar, right? The penis of the dragon, the most coveted title out there, right?
Right. Hello.
I guess the consensus was that none of them would be allowed. No Pindar would be named, right? If they did not get the RV done. No one would be allowed to be the Pindar until the RV was done.
Okay.
So
now, and they also agreed that they weren't going to be taking any money. Any of the U.S. banks got all together and said, "Okay, we're not going to take any money from." If it came from Kim.
Hey, guess what, banks? I have a secret for you. You weren't going to be getting any money anyways. So we basically looked at your books and what you've done with the banking system, and we realized that you are laundromats that do nothing but launder money. So you will be taking coins from now on, but you certainly cannot be trusted with money of any kind. So yeah, but hey, at least they agreed to it, right? They took a stand. We're not taking any money. Great. Yeah. We're all in agreement.
Let's see how long that lasts, though, where they say, "Oh, we're not taking any money." Maybe they start saying, "Oh, maybe we should take some money." When they start losing their lifestyle, right?
Well, I mean, they really are committed. I mean, they all have contracts that Kim agreed to give their top executives, to step down and give them a nice, what's it called?
Golden parachute.
Golden parachute, right? They were given $100 million, right?
Right.
To basically let people fund projects. And I just feel like with $100 million, you could go and have a decent life, right? For the most part, you're pretty much set. You're gonna do okay, mm-hmm. And you can walk away. Hashtag walk away from the cabal. It's even bigger than the Democratic group.
There you go. Hashtag cabal walk away. Hashtag cabal walk away.
Exit.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're good for today. What do you think?
Yeah, go play away, man. Appreciate it. Everybody have a great night. Dan, do the same.
All right, everyone. Subscribe, share, positive comments, copy and paste the link, and do what you can to support us and everything that we're doing, and take your own stand, make your own videos, do whatever, emulate what we're doing, and then participate on this Q&A that's coming. Is that tomorrow? I didn't even look at the date.
Tomorrow night, Q&A, live Q&A. All questions that we have the answer to will be answered. All questions will be answered, even if the question is I don't know.
At 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There we go. That's good. I know the time. Excellent.
That's right. All right. Have a great night, everybody.
All right. Bye, everyone.